Welcome one and all to part 3 of our warm-up cool-down recovery series. In this video, we're diving deep into lower body specifically. So if you're hitting a lower body workout, particularly a strength workout, these are going to be each of our ideal warm-ups and cool-downs to make sure that you're maximizing every time you hit the lower body. So without further ado, let's get into it.
So as the resident leg guy around here, I'm going to lead off with our lower body warm-up. So we'll go through, we're going to always start out with our foam rolling again. So Anthony's going to come down. If your focus is more of a lower body hinge, with the hamstrings, we're going to roll your hamstring. See how Anthony has one leg, just to focus on one at a time, and he's kind of moving side to side as he goes. That's going to help just kind of loosen that hamstring up, get some blood flow, and spend 20 to 40 seconds on each side. If you're going to do a lower body squat day, then we're going to focus more on your quads instead. So again, top of the knee all the way up to the hip there. Just slow and steady. If you find a spot that feels a little tender, just kind of sit there and just oscillate on it. Again, 20 to 40 seconds per side. And then no matter what day it is, squat or hinge day, I always like to foam roll the TFL. That spot there, it gets tight on a lot of people, so just spend some time there warming up. Again, 20 to 40 seconds per side with that. So then moving on, we're gonna get our core prepped. I love the dead bugs, but just to get some variation, now we're gonna do a banded dead bug. So he's gonna get some nice tension over there, engage the lats, nice strong core, low back's in the ground, alternating, dropping his legs. We're gonna go for 10 reps, 5 per side. We'll take a break and we're going to go 2 sets of that. Again, a lot of the lower body movements are more demanding on your core, so making sure you got a good brace, get that core activated. Looks good there. And then we're going to go into the world's greatest stretch variation of it. So we'll have one leg forward. He's going to reach his right arm down, try to get as low as he can, and then open up nice and big towards this front side. Work on that hip rotation, thoracic rotation. Do that for like 3 to 5 reps. Once he finishes that, he's going to sink back, straighten that front leg, feel a nice little hamstring, maybe calf stretch up and forward, and then he'll get that bottom leg hip flexor. Again, he'll do that for 3 to 5 reps. Then he'll switch and do the other side. Then from there, we're going to get the buns activated. So grab the band right around the waist. Just going to do a little self-resisted glute bridge. So pulling against the band as he goes up, all the way up. All the way up. There you go. Get a nice squeeze of your butt. You go 10 reps, take a break. You got 2 sets. And the glutes are a major role in all the leg movements, so making sure those are on and engaged. And last but not least, again, grind the CNS, get explosive. So we're going to do a depth drop into a box jump. So land, jump, and working on good landing mechanics and getting explosive with it. We're going to do 3 reps of this. Take a little breather, 15, 30 seconds, and we're going to do that for 2 sets. Watch where you're going. Looks great. There you have it.
All right, I'm here with my upper or lower body warm up for either a hinge and or a squat. Like you saw in the upper push and upper pull, I usually keep it a little bit simpler. So I start with 2 to 3 rounds of everything of this. So it's 30 reps of normal feet together jump rope. And then I go into 30 reps, 15 each side of high knee jump ropes. You can go as high as you want with those knees or as low as you want. Just get the body moving. And then I move to 15 each side, double hops on one leg. After that, we're on the turf. So I do a turf length down and back of lunges. Walking lunges gets both the glutes and the quads and the hamstrings all fired throughout it. And then after that, I usually go through a lighter version of whatever exercise I'm doing, whether it's a barbell back squat, bench squat, or an RDL or a deadlift. So then I go into my heavy lifts.
To round out the warm-ups for a lower body day, I will be taking you through my circuit. As I've said in just about every warm-up video, I will always start by physically warming up my body. I think lower body lends itself to a more particular style of that. So either doing a slow incline walk on the treadmill or doing a nice easy bike on just a stationary bike for 3 to 5 minutes. Get the body a little warm, get the legs a little firing, and then we will get into my warm-up circuit. So I always do 2 rounds of a circuit, particularly for leg day. I focus on spine and hip mobility, dynamic movement, always getting some core engagement in there. And then just because of the things that I do, I also like to throw in a little bit of balance as well. So again, 2 rounds. We'll start out with some cat-cow. So if you've watched our other videos, you know, wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Nice controlled fluid movement between end ranges. So going 8 at each end range for cat-cow. Then we're basically going to flip that on its head. So next up is dead bugs. So for this, again, I just like a nice easy core engagement. I also do 8 total for this. Keep it super easy, moving nice and slow, nice and balanced, nice and harmonized, making sure the arm and leg are moving in unison. So 8 total for that, focusing on squeezing those abs. From there, next up is going to be the greatest stretch, or world's greatest stretch. So I do 5 on each side for this, just making sure, again, we're getting the hips nice and open, getting some spinal rotation going on in there. So 5 times of a little bit of that almost thread the needle movement, bringing it through, opening up, and then going into the second part of the stretch, which is leaning back, getting a little hamstring stretch. So I go 5 times forward and back in there on each side in an ideal world. After that, just very easy muscle activation. So we're going to go 10 glute bridges. So focusing on, I call it juicing the peaches. Make sure you're squeezing them buns at the top. Nice controlled engagement, nice controlled release back to the ground, going for 10 there. And then following that up with 10 body weight squats. So for this, really focusing on your range of motion, making sure your heels are where your balance is centered, staying down nice and low, keeping the back nice and straight, and then squeezing the quads and the glutes at the top. From there, continuing, because we've got essentially for any lower body day, you have squat, lunge, hinge. So the next one is going to be a lunge and twist. So when you lunge back or forward, just twisting over the knee that's up. So I just do usually 5 to 8 on each side, whatever lends itself to making sure the muscles feel like they're getting worked and warm, but not overworking anything. So a range of 5 to 8 on each side. And then I go into a deep squat hold. So for this, it's 20 to 30 seconds. If you feel comfortable, notice how Ryan's staying back on his heels, hips are low, chest is tall. If you don't yet have the mobility for that, using a wedge if you have that, or even just some small 5-pound plate weights to tuck under the heels, just so you can make sure your weight is still back on your heels while getting into a nice deep squat hold. And then the last thing I do for the circuit is single leg balance, 20 to 30 seconds. If balancing on one leg is tough enough, just stand there. As you get more comfortable with it, like Ryan is doing, moving around, single leg RDL, driving up the knee, rotating around, just getting comfortable on that single leg. So 2 rounds through that whole circuit: cat, cow, dead bugs, greatest stretch, bridges, squats, lunge with a twist, deep squat hold, and single leg balance. And then this is where a lot of it depends on if you're doing a lower body push or a lower body pull day. Whatever your primary exercise is, doing a progressive prep. So first set, very, very lightweight, 10 easy reps. Second set, moderate weight for 8 reps. And then that third progressive prep set, 5 reps with the weight that you'll use going into your working sets. So that's what I got for a warm up for your ideal lower body workout.
Hey, great job. You just finished a nice hard workout. Time to cool down. So my 2 favorites, more so if I do a squat, I'm going to come to this. Sometimes I do both, just feels good. So this is going to get that hip flexor. So Anthony has a nice strong band tucked right up under your butt cheek. He's going to bring that leg down to one knee, that half kneeling hip flexor stretch. And the goal here, let the band really shoot that hip into full extension. He's going to squeeze the glute. Try to keep your body a little more upright while shooting your hips forward. You don't want to lean back and create that arch. Feel a nice, strong stretch right in the front of the hip there. The goal is to hold this for at least 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes. Good luck with that. But you walk away feeling really good. We'll do the other leg, and then my all-time favorite is the elevated pigeon stretch. So you're going to bring one leg up on the bench. I like to use the bench here. Notice how he's got his knee down. We want that. A lot of people I see kind of are stuck up here. The nice thing about the bench, you can just meet the knee where it's at. If you can get it flat, I think it's better, but this also works a great stretch. Thank you. And he's going to sink back. He's going to kind of hinge the hips back, lean forward a little bit. Not rounding through the low back, just and hold that nice stretch right in the hip there. Again, 30 seconds to 2 minutes per side. This one feels wonderful. And then reward yourself. Anthony's going to come down on the ground. And you worked hard today. Just lay back, close your eyes, throw on some nice chill music, focus on breathing. So the legs are up. It's taking some pressure off the spine and back there. Just going to relax again. Try to hold this for at least a minute, up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever time you have. Just kind of just down regulates your nervous system, gets you going about your day. This is really good for recovery, and it just feels nice to close your eyes sometimes. There you have it.
All right, I'm here with my cool down for lower body days. I do this after lower body days and a lot of my running days. So I usually start my cool downs with foam rolling. I'll get the hamstrings, the quads, the calves, the hips, focusing on areas that if I was doing a hinge, I'll focus more on hamstrings. If I'm doing a squat, I'll focus more on the quads. But just kind of feeling out where you need it most and trying to get a little bit of everything. I try to go 1 to 2 minutes per section per leg. Once I'm done with the foam roller, I like to use a fixed band. If you don't have a fixed strap, you can use a like a resistance band or a TheraBand of some sort. And I like to go into a leg straight, coming back, getting that nice long hamstring and calf stretch. I'll come cross body, trying to keep the shoulders nice and square, reaching as far as you can, getting the outside of the hip. Then I'll go outward, get the inside of the groin, a little bit of that inside hamstring as well. And then the fun one is getting up into a quad position with this strap. So you're going to come in, you're going to kneel, you're going to get one leg forward like a lunge. Balance and core is necessary for this one. And then you're driving that knee as far into the ground as you can. Get a nice stretch from the top of the hip all the way down through that knee. Going, holding each of these for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on how you're feeling. To round it out, I usually go a little longer. I do a shin stretch, right along the muscle. So you sit back onto your ankles or onto your heels. If you don't feel it, you can lean back a little bit further. Or like Trevor has, he has his legs pretty wide. Gets that nice stretch of the shins. And then to round it out, handful of minutes of if you need to use a support, you can use a support, but going into a deep stretch. Deep egg hold is what I like to call it, a deep squat. And that is my cool down, holding these last ones for a few minutes and getting everything nice and loose.
Welcome to the final piece of the cool down puzzle. After a good lower body day, this is my go-to. I'm a big stretch at the end of a lower body day kind of person, partially because my lower body is just very tight. So something that I need to work on. So that's what I throw into my cool down. So I do just a standard 45 seconds per side each stretch, starting out with a hamstring stretch. You'll see right here, he's doing a good job of keeping his leg nice and straight. One thing that's very easy to do, especially when you're pulling overhead, is to just reactively start bending the knee so you get more range. Keeping it where the stretch needs to be. Keep that leg nice and straight. 45 seconds each side for the hamstrings. From there, I usually just work around the hips. So I'll start with a pigeon pose or figure 4 stretch of some sort. And you'll have seen their cool downs. I also like to use a box for the sake of keeping the video flowing. You can see the pigeon pose stretch right there. On the same side, so on the same leg from pigeon pose, getting up into a kneeling position and doing some pelvic tilts. So this I don't hold for the full 45 seconds. I hold for a few seconds, release, re-engage for a few seconds, and I do that on and off for 45. It's similar to doing like an Achilles stretch. I don't like the idea of just holding this. Maybe that's just personal preference, but I find it's more effective for me when I give it a release every 3 to 5 seconds. From there, that same leg that's being stretched, kicking it out to the side, sinking down, and holding for 45 seconds as well. So you get outside, front, and inside right around the hips, just stretching all of it. And then ideally, you're going to do that same thing on the other leg. And then the last thing before we stand back up, I like to use a wall personally. So doing a half kneeling quad stretch, same stretch that Anthony had you doing. I just use a different modality to achieve the same result. But you guessed it, 45 seconds, making sure that you're leaning back as much as your quad can handle so you get the best stretch out of it. And then the last thing I stretch personally is calves. Again, I talked to you about it in the warm-up, but I do a lot of balance work, and a lot of that requires a lot of just engaging the calves for a long period of time. So making sure, staying, using the wall. I'm more of the using the back foot, so heel down, hips in. If you prefer to use the wall with your front foot, that works too. That's mostly just dealer's choice. But then similar to what Ryan did, where it's just that down regulation process, I'll usually end with a 5 to 10 minute nasal breathing walk. So walking extremely slow, maybe 2 miles per hour at most, making sure that I'm breathing through my nose, making sure that I'm calming down the nervous system. And then when I get done with that, I'll usually just lie down and do a couple minutes of breath work. So I think that ought to do it. Ideal lower body warm up coming at you from each of us, and ideal lower body cool down. Well, there you go. As you just heard from me, that's each of our respective ideal lower body warm up and each of our ideal lower body cool down. If this is the first video you're catching in this series, what we recommend is, if you're doing more than one lower body day for the rest of your life, try each of ours over the next few lower body sessions that you hit. See what parts you like, see what parts you don't, see what allows you to perform the best, feel the best, and then just Frankenstein's monster it. Take the pieces of each of ours that you like, turn it into your own custom format. Hopefully that helps. If there's something that we either talked about that you implement and really enjoy or really don't, make sure you let us know in the comments. Also, if you end up using just a whole puzzle of one of ours, or you piece it together and it works for you, make sure you come back and let us know that as well. But I think that ought to do it. So at this point, you've got upper body push, upper body pull, and lower body. There is one more video that we're going to be dropping in this series in which we talk about each of our ideal recovery routines. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace!